my third attempt to do this. It makes space boring. First episode of 2020, January 6th. Apparently, I've forgotten everything I know about settings because there was no sound in the last version of this. So we'll kick the can again, and oh, that's my last name. Oh my gosh, and try this one more time. So remember, we're on a mission to make space boring. That means getting the public to be using space-based products and services, going to jobs in the space field like they do today using terrestrial Wi-Fi and using public transit, let's say. And when we accomplish that, it will be great for everyone. We'll know we've gotten somewhere. So what happened? Over the holidays, everything kind of got mushy, right? Nobody really wanted to do anything. So I'm very thankful to the people who showed up for their podcast appointments. Christmas Eve, I had a fun chat with Jonathan McDowell, who's an astrophysicist. We talked about quasars and black holes and all sorts of wonderful space things. So look for that episode, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. I also talked to Luc Maisonobe, who is the founder of OraKit, which is a low-level flight dynamics library. It's got all the goodies of how the satellites are flying around and that. Many governments, institutions, organizations use that data and build on top of it. It's a kind of an open source thing. There's an open governance model, which we got into. It was a really great conversation. Luke was very forthcoming on where the data comes from and how they use it and that whole process. So I learned a lot. So thanks for those guys. I talked to him New Year's Eve for showing up during the Christmas season. I talked with Nicole Shumaker, recording later this week. We're going to record today, but it's going to be Friday now, about off-planet construction research projects. This is very interesting. To me personally, my brother's in a similar kind of field, works for the Canadian government in the permafrost area of study. And I remember when he called me up and said, hey, this is in the late 90s or early 2000s. I'm in, early 2000s at Carleton University getting a master's degree in permafrost. And I burst out laughing because I didn't know what it meant. And it seemed kind of ridiculous. But, me, I asked questions and found out right away. This is very interesting because the ground's always frozen in the Arctic Circle, and I'm sure we'll find that it's very similar in space, right? So in many locations. And so if you drive pilings down, well, that's great. Not only do you have to get through this very solid ground, but in the process of putting those pilings in, you're creating heat transfer as heat goes down those pilings, and over time it melts some of the permafrost and your pilings go and so does the structure you've built on top, which is a problem, they tell me. So anyway, Nicole has some experience in that area, but she's very interested in building things on the moon, and I learned a new term for me. I'm opening this in situ resource utilization. Well, I know about in situ from my power generation days working with industrial gas turbine generator sets, and that's a lot of how you fix those things and do maintenance on them and that kind of thing. So learning how that term is to be applied, and we're going to have a great conversation about what you do to gather resources that are locally available in that moon crater you just went to and build something there, because it ain't going to be like those science fiction magazine covers that we saw from the 50s and 60s, right, with your nice glass domes. That ain't going to happen. She's a research specialist at Texas A&M and principal of her own consulting company, NSC International. I booked a couple of folks over the Christmas break here, New Year's break. Christopher Thein, hopefully it's not Thein. I don't know. If I murder some of these names, please forgive me and correct me. I'm happy to hear about it. He's the founder of Earth Observant, Inc., which I have to imagine is about observation of the Earth. So that'll be interesting. Alistair Funge, who chatted with a bit before. He's a Washington-centered guy, knows about orbital space debris, and will help us expand our policy knowledge and what's happening in some areas that we've dug into a little bit before. And I'm really enjoying getting to know that area. I have to say, from the outside looking in, some time ago, I thought, oh, the space traffic management, this is really important, like the traffic system, right? That I see that as critical. It's communication, it's making sure things don't fly into each other and whatnot. But who controls that? And the standards of that are really, really important, because you're setting the pattern for what we do. And that's, unfortunately, it's the antithesis of how Cold Star behaves, right? We don't like this. But once you set something like that up, people tend to use it and just go, well, this is the way we've always done it. And so the first people to get there and set that thing up right, that traffic management navigation tracking system, they're going to be setting the path for humanity to follow for quite some time. And look at our vehicular traffic systems, right? Not a lot of change going on there. And those were based on railroad traffic control as well. So Alistair will be on and we'll talk with him. I've been asking around for a ground station expert because that's an area I don't know nothing about. So it's going to be interesting to learn. I did find one from Angola, Eldrige De Melo. He reached out to me and I connected with me, but he didn't ask. He didn't stick his hand up and say, hey, I'm a ground station expert. I saw that though and reached out to him and said, hey, I've been looking for this. So that's going to be very educational because that is just an area I have an empty cubby hole in my brain about what goes on there. No idea, Jim Cantrell's episode released last Monday. If you missed that, go back and check it out. You can find the Cold Star Project on YouTube. Just search for that, Cold Star Technologies, Cold Star Project. It will come up. Or on Anchor or iTunes or Spotify or any of those big audio-only platforms if you like audio only. A lot of people I've found don't know that there is a video version of that. It's like, oh, you sound like you're in the same room. Well, we are, we are talking over Zoom, which is what I use for recording. And so there is a video version and there is an audio only version. Today's episode of the Cold Star Project, the full format interview show released. It's Michael Lyon, who is, I won't call him a venture capitalist. He's an attorney, advisor. He's a mentor at an accelerator, which has a very fun name. You can go check that out. Michael, Lyon. If you missed I try to do a native video for LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, right? That is on there, kind of a snippet from it with the link to the full episode in there. If you missed that, go look for that. We talked about, he was one of the first people to get into space tourism ages and ages ago, and there hasn't been a lot of movement there since. And so he's very good, I found, he looks around and he sees this asset and this asset and this capability, and he kind of cinches it all together into some money-making thing. So that's smart. And so if you're interested in space tourism or startups at all, AI and space startups, have a list of that episode because he and I talk about the things that founders miss. They just blow past, especially the legal stuff. And you need that stuff. You do. Don't get it from me. Don't come to me. I'm not a lawyer. Go to a guy like Michael. He'll set you up right, okay? But do it first. Do it first. Don't wait until things have rolled along and then you find yourself in some frustrating or difficult situation, okay? All right. That's it for today. That's a lot, huh? But I've enjoyed doing this. Hopefully the mic is actually recording this time. And remember, make space boring. I will talk to you tomorrow.